Happy Monday, everyone. This is Rob, and I'm back with episode number 303 of Shut Up and Grind, where I bring guests from all over the world to share their stories of overcoming obstacles and defying the odds, hopefully to inspire you through any type of struggles that you may be going through in your life. So if this is your first time joining, welcome. If you don't have the full 45 minutes to watch, you can find it on any one of the podcast platforms. And that's about it for that. So today we're going to be speaking with a guest. She is in Israel, and we're going to talk about her journey, and we'll let her talk about her own background and all that, because you guys know I don't read the bios, because I like the guests to tell us who they are and what they're all about. So let me bring on Tehilla, and we're going to have this conversation. So where is it where you are? Is it evening there?
Yeah, I just put the kids to sleep. I hope they don't wake up.
Oh, okay. Well, good evening to you. Yeah, it's afternoon here. So yeah, give us a little bit of your background.
Well, first of all, Robert, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.
My background, well, I used to be the national Israeli Judo Champion for 7 years running.
Wow.
And then I injured my knee. And as an individual sportsman, I was actually very self-centered and very selfish, because judo is a zero-sum game. All you're focused on is on your success. And even when you reach the top, you're constantly worried about maintaining your place there.
Yes.
And then I injured my knee, and judo was a huge part of my identity. And I decided I was going to quit. And I chose to become a boot camp instructor in the Israeli army for new male recruits coming from difficult backgrounds. The army actually recruits them in order to do a favor for society and give them a chance to redeem themselves. Mm-hmm. So the boot camp training is very, very rigorous. And it's a thankless job. It's so difficult. And they used to hate my guts. But thankfully, it enabled me to make the switch from being someone who's self-centered and selfish to someone who's in a selfless position. So for me, that was, at the time, was painful, but it was very good for my character. And that was the big change that I went through early in my life.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Just out of curiosity, do you know someone named Edan Ishpizir? I don't remember his last name, but he was in the Israeli army.
Almost everyone in Israel almost goes to the Israeli army. It's like it's compulsory, so everyone goes to the Israeli army. And
okay.
It's a great thing for the Israeli society, because it kind of helps us understand systems. It teaches us discipline, and it teaches us also responsibility and accountability.
Okay, love it. All right, so growing up, what did you see yourself doing as a career?
Well, when I was young, I used to love to argue, so everyone thought I'd be a lawyer.
Love it.
And also, I used to watch on TV, there was a series called LA Law.
Oh, yeah.
So I had this romantic idea about the world of law and law firms. But luckily, my cousins at the time, they were living in England. And what they have in high school, they have what they call work experience, which is 2 weeks where you actually go on site to a place of work and you experience the job itself. Okay. And I remember thinking to myself that that's such a clever thing to do. Even when I was young at their age, and I was thinking that I would create that thing for myself. So later on, when I went after, as most Israelis do after the army, we just need freedom. So we go backpacking around the world. So I went backpacking to the Far East, trying to figure out what I was going to do in life. And at the time, I was wondering whether I was going to study homeopathy, which is an alternative form of medicine, or business. So it seems to be like there was two things completely on different sides of the spectrum.
Yes.
But I said, in order to choose, I'm going to create my own work experience. So I was in India, and I found this Indian homeopath, and I used to sit with him for several weeks every day to experience homeopathy. And then I decided that in order to understand business, what I thought at the time, I bought leather bags and bidis, which are like homemade cigarettes, and decided I was going to sell them in the markets in London. So I flew to London and went to Portobello Market, and I said I wanted to rent a store. Now, at the time, I didn't have much understanding in business. And I paid £50 for a stall, but because I had no connections and it was my first time, they put me in the stall like in the corner where no one passed.
I gotta ask you though, if you were in India, why did you pick London?
Because I had relatives in London, and actually,
okay.
What happened after the army, I went to London initially in order to work and save money for the trip.
Yeah.
So I used to work. I used to sell sandwiches to different offices. I used to have a bicycle and like a trailer behind my bicycle with all sandwiches and soups and chips and crisps. That's the way the English call their chips.
So you were a hustler.
I was, yeah, from a very young age.
All right, so let's backtrack to the knee injury, because believe it or not, we're speaking on this podcast right now because I had a knee injury. You know, that's where the name came from, because I was told I would never run or jump again. Wow. And you know, we squashed those odds. But take me through yours. So when you first suffered the injury, what was your initial reaction?
Okay, so I injured my knee several times. So the first time I injured my knee was in the European Championships. Mm-hmm. I tore my ACL, which is ligament, okay?
Yep.
And then when I went to the sports doctor, he says, is there any other sports that you like? Because you won't be able to do judo again. And I was like, what? I was in shock. He's like, how about chess?
How about chess?
I remember calling my coach in tears. And the coach kind of calmed me down. And I went through this surgery when it was a few months to rehabilitate from the surgery, and it was a horrible process. It was really painful and it was very difficult. But I did manage to rehabilitate myself and come back to the judo mat.
Nice.
And then what happened was, I remember it was like a split second where I could choose whether I should do this certain move. I was throwing someone and I could just rotate a bit more and injure myself or not. I remember consciously something within me chose to get injured, and I did that movement and it was a bit too broad, and I injured my other knee. And in a way, at the time, I had enough. I have had enough of judo. I felt that, you know, it was already. It was. I felt that it wasn't. I just wasn't enjoying it as much as I had, and I felt that I wanted to do something more meaningful in the army, and because I was in the national Israeli judo team, and people the country had invested in me so much resources, I couldn't just quit. So in a way, by choosing to get injured again, it was my way to sort of respectfully leave. I remember it was the night, it was the December 1997. It was the last night before New Year's, right?
Yeah.
And I was speaking on the phone to my ex-boyfriend at the time, and I was deciding whether I was going to quit or not. And together we decided that I was going to quit. He helped me make that decision, which took so much because it was such a huge part of my identity. Every time people used to introduce me, they used to introduce me as the judo champion. And I remember we were joking that 1997 judo champion, 1998 ex-judo champion. And that's when I chose to quit. And it was received well because I had a good reason for it. I don't know how it would have been received if I would have just gotten up and, you know, in retrospect, I can see how clear it was to me that I needed to leave. At the time, it took quite a bit of, you know, internal.
Of course. See, what people don't understand too, because like I coached indoor and outdoor track and field here, and I've tried to instill it into the kids for what you just said. When you reach that level of champion, the title never leaves you. You know, it never leaves you. Like I was an All-American in track and field. I graduated in 1992. And the coaches still introduce me as All-American Robert Foster. You know, it's like, but it's not even so much the title, it's the what it took to get there, right? So take me through your training regimen, because you said you were a judo champion for 7 years. So how regimented was your fitness routine and your practicing of your skills?
So I was a judo champion basically from age 11 till 18. Okay. Wow. Now, the thing about judo is, in addition to the fact that it's a very physical sport, right? It's a martial art. There are also weight categories. So you're assigned a certain weight category according to your body build, your body composition, and will always be several in American, you say pounds, but we say kilos, several kilos below your actual weight. So half the battle is actually making the weight. So on the day of the competition, they weigh you. And I remember having to lose 8 kilos in a month. How much is that in pounds? That's like at least 16 pounds a month.
Yeah, it's like 16.
So I used to, for 3 weeks, I used to diet and lose 4 kilos. And then in 1 week, I used to lose another 4 kilos. And the way we used to lose the 4 kilos during the 1 week is that we actually used to fast. So you lose it in body weight by losing, by not drinking liquids. And I remember in the hotel, you have all the athletes running with layers and layers of clothes and plastic bags in order to sweat and perspire and lose the weight. And that's ridiculous because it puts you in such a mindset that for me, winning the battle was actually making the weight. It was so difficult to make the weight that all I could think of and focus was the breakfast in the hotel. I didn't care about the competition. I was just looking forward to drinking and eating. And then, you come back to the hotel, you stuff your face up, and then like, oh God, I've got to compete now. How am I going to, my time is full. I basically starve myself, and now I have to lift myself up and start getting ready for the competition. So it's counteracted, but that's just the way it was. Yeah. And I think that psychologically, it creates resilience and self-discipline, but it's very difficult afterwards, the whole weight, body image, nutrition, especially when you're a teenager and going through that delicate time. So that was part of it also.
Awesome. Yeah, a lot of wrestlers and people who do like bodybuilding competitions, they do that too. Like that last week, they drank almost no water, which is not the healthiest thing on earth to do. It's like our bodies need water. Totally. Like I trained 3 people. Well, I helped in training 3 people for a fitness competition back in 2015. I was like, I'll never do it again. Like it was just, the reward wasn't worth what they put themselves through. Right. Yeah. It just wasn't. But anyways, I definitely admired that they stuck to the plan for 16 weeks. So that definitely takes a lot of self-discipline to do that.
Listen, I used to wake up sweating in the night. I used to dream that I broke my diet and that I ate. And I used to wake up like panicking that I ate. So it was
That's hysterical. All right. So let's fast forward now. So now how did you make the transition from doing judo and getting back into business? Well, getting into business.
So at the time, as I said, I was dithering whether to become like a homeopath or going to business. And after I'd had my not so positive experience in business, I decided I would study homeopathy. And I'm very happy I did, because the whole thing is that homeopathy being what it is, an alternative form of medicine, it's based on spiritual principles. So when you understand these spiritual principles of abundance, being abundance is like, or health. Health is not only not having physical, emotional, or mental symptoms. It's having it all. It's having abundance. It's having great relationships. So when you study homeopathy, you're actually studying spiritual principles and you're understanding people. And I remember going out with this diamond dealer. We didn't go out for long, but there was one thing I had learned from him. And he told me this. He said, look, when I come to buy a diamond, I don't look at the diamond. I look at the person selling the diamond. And that's when I understood that business was all about understanding people. And as homeopathy has given me such a good understanding of people and spiritual principles and abundance, when I came to do business, I did it from a completely different place. And I see much better results that way.
Love it. Yeah, like I tell people when they come in, because I manage a gym, and when people come in, I always say, because one of the first things they ask is, well, how much is it? It was like, you want to get healthier. It's like you want to find the person that's got the right skill set and the right personality for what you're looking for. It's like you just can't come in here and look for the cheapest thing on earth. It's like, because here, I mean, there are places more expensive than us, but there are a lot of places that are cheaper than us. But I was like, you got to look at the results that we get. Like, that's what you have to look at. So I've trained over 3,000 people, probably even beyond that. And just the transformations over the last 10 years. I was actually scrolling through my Facebook memories earlier, and like photos from 10, 14 years ago. And it's like, wow, I've been doing this a long time. And it's like, I've earned the right, we have earned the right to charge what we charge, because what we do works, and people have to understand that. Like if you're just looking for the cheapest trainer in town, you're definitely not going to get the best one in town. If that's all you're looking for.
Totally. I remember when I was a young homeopath, I sat with a colleague of mine, and he had more experience than me, and he had a phone call coming in, and he was in the car, so I could hear the phone call. And the first thing the woman asked was for his fee, for his rate. And then he told a background, he told the rates, and as soon as he put down the phone, he told me, listen, if people start by asking your rates, you know that they won't come, they won't close. Mm-hmm. And that was a good rule that up till today I noticed that, but thank God today I'm not in the position where people, the first thing they do is ask me my rates.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
I think once you gain a reputation, people they don't do that anymore.
Yes, yeah, exactly, because they see the track record of what you're doing with social media and stuff now, putting out stories and reels and all that. So they know what they're walking into. But then I'll post these collages of people sprouting muscles and doing pull-ups and all that good stuff. So it's like, yeah, you see all the what in their mind are my crazy workouts, but look at what these crazy workouts are producing. It's kind of like buying a car. It's like, you go to the car dealership with a certain monthly price in mind, and then you end up leaving with the car that's got the heated seats and it's got the fancy radio and it's got all the bells and whistles. And like, I guess I can go up another $100 a month. It's just the same thing. In anything worthwhile that you're looking to invest in, make sure it has what you need and not just it's the cheapest thing.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. So from there, so you switched into business. And what do you do now?
So the way I see it, the world of business today is the darkest, densest, most selfish place. So my aim is to infuse that with light and spirituality. And by doing that, we raise the entire world. So from my experience as business owners, our business is a direct extension of who we are. Our business is our baby. If our business is doing well, we're doing well. If our baby is not doing well, we're literally not sleeping in the night.
Yeah.
So from what I've seen from my experience in the clinic and working as an extrasensory business consultant, in order for a business to prosper, its owner has to be thriving. So I take a holistic approach. And first of all, I treat the business owner. I give them a homeopathic remedy which addresses their physical, mental, and emotional issues and helps them overcome conscious and subconscious patterns that are holding them back, because our whole life is all about patterns and repeating patterns and learning from them. And also the homeopathic remedy aligns them with abundance, because as I said, health is not just a state of not having symptoms. Health is basically having it all, having the great relationships, having abundance, feeling great. It's all about that. So that's the first thing I do. And then once we have...
Let's pause there.
Sorry.
Let's pause there. Can you talk about the difference between subconscious and conscious patterns for people that may not know what that means?
Okay, so our whole life is built on patterns. It's like if we're aware enough, when we look back, we see that the same issues keep on repeating themselves. Okay, now let me give an example of a pattern. Okay, say we have a person who lost their family at a very young age. Okay, in a car accident, and now he's a grown man. And he has problems with his joints. His joints are very, very stiff and very rigid. And he's very, very controlling. And on the other hand, he has a problem when he's sleeping. He has involuntary urination. Okay? So basically, if we look at his story or at the symptoms without going, in a simplistic approach, we actually see that the whole issue is all about control versus lack of control. When he lost his family, he felt that he had a huge sense of lack of control over reality, and then he decided he was going to try to control reality as much as possible in order to not feel to go through such a painful experience. Yeah. And this control also created his joints. His joints also became stiff and hard, right? Which also is a part of control. However, subconsciously, it's all because he feels there is no control, and the subconscious we see in the sleep. And when he sleeps, that's when he has the involuntary urination. So we see the whole pattern is control versus lack of control. And then we give a homeopathic remedy which addresses this pattern. And then once the remedy works, then we'll see that the joints will improve. He will be less controlling, more pleasant, and he'll stop urinating in the night. So, but it's because we addressed the pattern. We addressed the totality, the whole.
Yes. Okay. Great answer. Yeah, it's like I deal with that here in the gym too. Like when people come in and they're like, I need to lose 15 pounds. And I'm like, why? Because there's an underlying reason why people want to get into better shape. And I can better guide people to their goals when they're upfront and completely honest with me. Because it's like, that's not the reason why. I'm like, that's not the reason why. And you keep going right down the list, and then finally they'll give me the real answer. And it's all right, good. Now that we uncovered that, now we can make a game plan. Everybody always wants to dance around the issue. Because like I always say, people don't want to throw themselves into the fire. So they're just... Yeah, so they're just going to sidestep what the actual underlying issue is, or maybe they don't want to face it, but you got to tackle it head on, just as you said. And then from there, now you can start to heal from it. By doing it the other way, you're just going to hold on to it, and it's going to grow and grow and grow and grow until you one day explode.
I totally agree. It's like, you see, from my experience, almost everyone wants the same 4 things, okay? Everyone wants to be healthy. Okay, healthy and happy, right?
Yep.
Everyone wants to be loved and appreciated. Everyone wants financial freedom. And if you're a person above the age of 16, most people want to lose weight. Okay. Now, the thing is that most people go about these objectives in the wrong way. So they take medication, which treats the symptoms and only creates more and more side effects. Okay. They have toxic relationships. And then they have this victim mentality, so they don't feel really loved and appreciated. When it comes to money, then they're too busy working instead of lifting their nose up and looking at the bigger picture. And when it comes to losing weight, they're doing all these yo-yo diets. And instead of losing weight, they're losing self-confidence and the joy of life.
Yes.
So the way I see it, what you're actually wanting to do is take a different approach. You want to. I always tell the story about this garden in Old Jerusalem, where it was the most amazing garden. It has orange trees and lemon trees and lovely birds and bees and grass. And one day, it was the apple of its owner's eye. And one day the owner was noticing that it was losing its luster. There were no more birds, no more bees. The grass was going on yellow. The trees were dying. The flowers weren't blooming. And he started, what we say is he started, shooting to all directions. He started calling in all these experts. And so the grass expert came and put horse manure all over the garden. And you can imagine how that smelled.
Yep.
And then there was a tree expert which put like scaffolding and tried to support the trees. The bee expert put bowls of water with sugar in a desperate attempt to call the bees, but nothing really worked. And one day his grandchild came to visit, and as they were walking around the garden trying not to step in the horse manure and get all dirty, the grandchild noticed something and he pointed something to the corner. He said, "Grandfather, what's that there?" And when both of them approached the corner of the garden, they looked and they saw that the main water pipe was broken. It was disconnected. And once they fixed the main water pipe, the garden received water, and whatever needed to grow, grew. The grass was green again, the flowers were blooming, the trees got stronger, and then naturally the birds and the bees came. And it was all because they were connected to the source. And that's the way I see it, and that's what I do. I help people connect to the source. Once you're connected to the source, whatever needs to grow will grow. But we take a holistic approach. We're not treating each symptom separately. And that's the whole idea of the work I do and many other holistic practitioners.
All right. And so how does that tie into you working with businesses?
Because, like I said, a business is a reflection of its owner. So when we take a holistic approach, we give a homeopathic remedy, which, like I said, treats the underlying reasons for the symptoms, for the various symptoms. And then what I do, I use an extrasensory technique called Bio-Orgonomy.
And what is that? Oh, did I lose you?
A bank account, a relationship.
There she is. Yeah, it cut out for a second there.
Sorry.
It's okay. All right, continue.
So as I was saying, according to Bio-Orgonomy, everything has energy fields which nurture and sustain it. It can be a person, a plant, a bank account, a contract, a relationship. Now, if these energy fields are not intact, that's when we start seeing problems. People become ill, the bank account is leaking money, the business isn't doing well. So what I do using this extrasensory technique, first of all, I diagnose these energy fields, and if need be, I fix these energy fields. And then what I do is I look at different factors. One of the most important factors is what I call aligning interests. Now, I was working with this woman who has a cosmetics oil company, and the business wasn't making money. And when I checked to see what the reason was, what I saw was that her husband at the time wasn't making enough money. So he was subconsciously sabotaging her business. Because, in order to manifest something, we have to be sending a coherent message into the universe. So he was subconsciously threatened by her success. So what I could do using the extrasensory technique, I could see what that was, the reason lying behind that, which was different generational issues that he had, and address that. I could see what was in her that was enabling that to happen and fix that. And then the solution that came through was that she should make him feel that he was an integral part of the business. So she asked his advice, and she made him feel that his success was the success of the business. And once she did that, not only was the business making more money, but the relationship also improved. And that's when I understood that in order to succeed, you have to have everyone's interest, all the key stakeholders in your life, you have to have their interests aligned with yours, whether it's family, friends, or business partners. And the best way to do that is by aligning your interests with a higher good. And then by doing that, you create sustainable relationships and you find win-win solutions. So that's another thing that I work on with my clients, aligning interests. And the third thing that I do is that I use Bio-Orgonomy as a tool for extra insight. What does that mean? For example, I have a woman who has a tourism company, and one of the employees was stealing money from her. And I could see that the reason he was stealing the money, I could see, first of all, who it was. She didn't know who it was, so I could tell her who it was. And I could also see that the reason he was doing that was because his son was ill and they needed the money for medication. And the solution that came through was a solution that respected the situation and enabled everyone to grow. And that's very, very important, because we have to understand that we're here. The only reason we're actually here is in order for our souls to evolve. This is all, our journey is in order for us to grow. And what we need to be doing is enabling ourselves and others to grow along. There's a reason why we meet people and why they are part of our journey. People come into our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And the solutions that we found, our relationships have to be very respectful of these people and allow them to grow. And that's what we did, and we found a solution for that. Thank God.
I love that. All right, so much stuff I want to touch on. Let's back up to where you mentioned the victim mentality, because some people, especially here in the States, some people get so triggered by that. But a victim mentality is a real thing. But I want to hear your take on it.
I think a victim mentality is when you don't take accountability. It always takes two to tango. Okay, so if something is manifested, it's not me. It's the teaching of Jewish sages, right? Anything you see outside of you is actually a reflection of something that's going on inside of you. So it always takes two to tango. If someone is an oppressor, there is always the victim who had that. It's like two pieces of a puzzle coming together. Okay, everyone emits a certain frequency, and this frequency actually draws certain situations and certain people into their lives. And the reason that this frequency actually does that, and if we think, is in order for them to grow. So if we draw a situation that's challenging us and puts us in a situation where we're a victim, we actually have to understand that we're accountable for that. We have to look in ourselves. Why do we have that victim mentality? Why this actually came into our lives? Understand that it's for our higher good, and see how we address that. Because once we address that internally, the situation will actually fall off like dry leaves off a tree. Because it's like I say, there are two buildings, one next to the other. Okay, one building has lots of cats, and the other one doesn't have any cats. What's the difference between these two buildings? Because no matter how many times they call the people or the cat removers or whatever you call them, the exterminators, I don't remember, and the cats keep on coming back. And so how come one building does have cats and the other one doesn't have cats? The reason is that one building has an old lady who puts out food for the cats every morning, and the cats keep on coming back. And that's the same thing with a victim mentality or with a winner mentality. It doesn't matter. It's the patterns. We create these patterns. Okay, if we want something to change in our lives, we have to change it from within. It will be reflected outwards.
Yeah, like when I'm talking with people, whether it's about fitness, sports, or just life in general, I always ask, what's stopping you from having what you want to have? And then they bring up, my wife, my husband, my kids, my job. There's no time. There's no this. I said, okay, so back to the top. What's stopping you? It's like, because everybody deals with all of that. Everybody does. It's like I come here, I teach four classes during the day, doing my podcast. I have to go to the school because we have a track meet tonight, and there's other stuff that has to be done along the way. So while I'm on the bus, I'm doing stuff. On the bus ride home, I'm doing stuff. When there's breaks in the track meet, I'm doing stuff. It's like you just have to make it happen. And like you said, everything that I do, none of it is about me. Because when I'm in the gym, I'm here for my members / clients. When I'm at the school, I'm there for the students. Here, we're inspiring our audience. So like everything I do, none of it is about me. Like if I was at a grill flipping burgers all day, yeah, I'd probably drive myself insane. And I've done that before, so I'm speaking from experience. But just last year, I had a rough year last year, and I picked myself up and just said, you know what, we gotta turn this boat around. It's like I can't sit around and think about all the outside factors that led to where I was. Ultimately, it was me. I was like, I know the writing was on the wall, the red flags were all there, and I ignored them all, and it ended up consuming me to the point to where I literally lost everything. And I was like, you know what, we got to go right back to square one, build myself first. So I went, got a gym membership, started working out again, getting my own self back in, wrote out what I wanted to accomplish, and then went to work every single day. Like people always ask me, what days do you have off? I don't take days off. I work 7 days a week. It's like, I don't have time to rest. It's like there's people out there in the world that need what I have to offer. It's like, although my daughter and I are going to Florida next month because she works hard too. So I was like, you know what, damn it, we earned 4 days off. Like, we're gonna take 4 days off. But other than that, yeah, for the last almost year and a half, I worked 7 days a week because when you want it, you got to go get it. It's not going to be handed to you.
That and I think if there's one take I'd like people to take from our conversation is the understanding that everything we experience in life, especially the challenges, is there in order for us to develop our unique skill set, for us to bring our unique light into the world. That's our calling. That's the light of our soul. That's what we're supposed to bring into this world. So all the hardships are actually there in order to help us develop and grow so we can actually do our calling.
Absolutely. Before we continue, I have to ask you, because you are in Israel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So over here in the States, that war is being gaslit big time. Like, how bad is it actually from someone who's there?
It depends what area you're at, and Israel is pretty small. So it really depends where you are. But the thing about Israel, right? Because like I said, everyone's in the army; it's compulsory. So even if we're not on the front line, we all know family members who are soldiers who are fighting in the front line, and we're constantly having this international pressure. And I remember, and there was like one evening a few weeks ago when suddenly I just looked at the news and I realized there's like 400 missiles making their way towards me. And I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do now? So I figured, I filled up lots of bottles of water. And then I said, well, in case we don't have any running water, might as well clean the house. I turned the dishwasher on, turned the washing machine on. I said, if I don't have infrastructure, if I don't have electricity, if I don't have water, I might as well have everything clean.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because we were supposed to speak a little bit ago, and I saw the reasoning that you rescheduled, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it was because it's very difficult to plan ahead. I always joke and I say I don't even buy green bananas because I don't know what's going to happen. So it's very difficult. But people here are very, very strong, very resilient, and we're very, we have faith in who we are, in what we're doing here, in God, in the state of Israel. So we come from a place where once you're backed by the truth, once you have the truth to support you, it's like it's being connected. Once you're connected to something higher than you, then you realize it's not about you. Okay, and once it's not about you, you surrender to a higher force. And you just say, okay, I'm a vessel. Let me just try to do the best I can. I always say, do your best. God will take care of the rest. And so it puts you in a different kind of mindset. And that's what makes us so strong.
All right. So you said about energy fields, right?
Yeah.
Going back to the topic at hand. I just had to ask that. I had a guest on a month ago who's also in Israel, and I asked her too. So I was like, just, because again, we get fed whatever the media wants to show us.
Yeah,
so
which isn't accurate. Let me put it mildly.
Oh, I'm sure. Just the things that get reported here isn't always the full story. It's like you'll got to find some independent journalist somewhere that will actually post the entire story. Our news media, they did little clips to get people outraged. But anyways, separate topic. So you had mentioned energy fields and that you fix energy fields. How does one fix an energy field?
Well, I don't really know. I just what I do is I use my eyelids as indicators. So I'd say Bio-Orgonomy, the premise is that our eyelids is one of the most sensitive muscles in our body. So I'd say, okay, if I move my hand horizontally, and my eyelids flickers, it's a yes. So if I move my hand vertically and my eyelid flickers, it's a no. If I check the energy fields, now I'm asking a question inside, are the energy fields 100%? So if my eyelid will flicker yes or no. And if it's a yes, then I move on to check other things. If it's a no, then I kind of just do this motion with my hand and I focus on I have an intent. The whole thing is that I don't do the change, I facilitate the change. So I have my intent and I'm very focused and I do something. And then it happens. And I'm always surprised myself, but the people I work on, I can be doing a Zoom session and doing things to people and they say, wow, I can feel it here and I can feel it here and I can feel it moving. Or I can tell these people things that come through me and I'm surprised. And sometimes I'm even nervous to say things because it seems so ridiculous what I'm about to say. and then they say, yeah, that's exactly right. Or that's true. I can say, listen, you're going to this meeting, it's going to be a complete waste of time. This client's completely crazy, but say this and this and that. And then the people come back and they say, wow, it was exactly what you said. Or I can check bank accounts and I see I just see their 5 bank accounts and I'm like, that's ridiculous. How can there be 5 bank accounts? But there are 5 bank accounts. That person does have 5 bank accounts. So like I say, I'm always surprised. And I just come with my intent and I'm just putting what I can out there and the universe, God, a divine force takes care of the rest. Thank God.
See, and that's the key too, is to put it out there. Like there's a video out there that has a money tree. So obviously it's a made up video, but it's this tree that's got dollar bills dangling from it. And just everyday people are just walking right underneath the tree. And then you get a select few that see it. They'll reach up, they'll grab $1, and then they'll keep on walking. Like I tell people, what you want to accomplish is right at your fingertips already. It's already there. But we take these, what are actually simple concepts, and as humans, we complicate the heck out of them. You know, because that's where the doubt, the fear, the makes you anxious. It might cause you stress, and then you end up worrying about this thing, but then you finally get it done, and it's like, I could have did that 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It's like you wasted all of that time worrying about it instead of just get it started. Like, because once you get it started, you start to see, like, now you can see the money tree. You get started and you can see the opportunities. You can see all the doors that were already there and available to you the entire time. Now you can actually see it. So
I totally agree. And I was walking in the woods outside of my house a few days ago, and I was just thinking to myself that the most amazing gifts are just behind the things that we're most afraid to do.
Yes.
And in order to move into our next level, to move up to the next level, even though we're trying to avoid doing those things, the universe will make it so it's inevitable that we actually have to actually address these fears. Mm-hmm. And if we don't choose to, it's like, what is it? There's a saying, you grow either from something or desperation. I don't remember the first one. So you can either choose to grow and then it's less painful, or if you don't choose to grow, it will become more and more painful, but you will have to eventually confront those fears.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a quote. How does the quote go? It says the results you want are in the work that you're not doing.
That's a great one.
I can't take credit for it, but I heard it in a YouTube video. It's like, that's gold. It's like, I have to remember that one. Yes. All right. So let's spend our last few minutes talking about how people can get in touch with you and what's the process if someone wants a consultation with you.
Thank you. Well, I have got my website, which is actually here. It's written in the background, bio4biz.com. That's BIO, the number 4, BIZ.com. And you can contact me through my website. And what I do is I also work individually with people. I give them a homeopathic remedy, and then I give them extrasensory consulting sessions. And also I work with groups and I help people connect to their intuition and their higher self. So those are the two things I do. I love what I do. I think it's amazing. And I think it's so important that people connect to their higher selves, because that's where the true gifts are for us and for the entire world.
Absolutely. Like when people are joining the gym, I always tell them, said, try to find a friend. This is going to sound funny. It's like, but try to find a friend who's in worse shape than you. Right? Seriously, because I find when people do that, because when people join a gym, a lot of people are nervous to get started. And so, like, find someone who's in worse shape than you. Now, that person's going to be looking to you for strength. And
that's a great idea. Wow.
Yes, and that will help you overcome your own fear, because now that person's going to be leaning on you while you're leaning on me for guidance. That other person's going to be leaning on you, going back to the connecting to your higher self. When
that's
you make
so good.
Like when you make it about something other than just you, or losing weight or fitting in the little black dress. Now that friend of yours who needs to come to the gym and clean up their eating habits. Now you can get that person off the couch and help you, find your higher self.
Totally, because what you do, you're shifting the focus, because in order to succeed, we have to shift the focus from ourselves outwards, as in what we want to give. And when we think about what we want to give, that's when we're like a funnel, and we're drawing in the light. The light wants to come to us because the light wants to be moved on, wants to be passed on.
Yeah.
So once we come, when we say our intention is actually to give or to bestow something on someone else, the light will come through the funnel. We're making room. We're not stopping it. We're not blocking it.
Yes.
And we want to receive. We want to receive, but in order to give. And that's one of a very important principle in Judaism, that you always want to be in a place where you want to receive, but you want to receive in order to give. You want to eat. You want to sleep in order to make your body strong, so you can be giving more. So everything anything that you actually want, if you just make that small switch and you say, okay, I want this, but I actually wanted to do something that's greater than me. I want to give it and share it with other people. Then you're coming from a higher state of consciousness and you're aligning with the universe, because the universe is all about giving and bestowing and giving to others.
Absolutely. I interviewed this woman probably 2.5 years ago now. Her husband has a really good paying job. So she was home with the kids and she's like, I want to do something in addition to, like while the kids are at preschool or whatever. She wanted something else for her to do. And she loved to cook. So she started a blog just sharing recipes and photos of food and all that stuff. Now we fast forward, she's got sponsors. She's making deep 6 figures with this blog. And it's absolutely incredible. And going back to highlight the point that you and I both made, what people want is right in front of them. Like she already had it. Like she already had this blog and she didn't realize she could monetize it till a friend of hers was like, because her audience was growing. And she's like, did you know you could get sponsors? And she had no idea. Like she was already doing that thing that was going to give her the success that she wanted, but she didn't realize that was the right vehicle. So going back to what you said 45 minutes ago, but people come into your lives for a reason. So like had that friend not come over that day and seen her on the computer doing her thing, she probably would have never mentioned that to her. It's just amazing how the universe works.
Yeah, I love it. It's all about opening your eyes and seeing it, because it happens all the time. It's whatever you need is actually given to you. It's just being able to recognize it and be thankful for it. And once you're thankful, you're opening up for more.
Gratitude is everything. Absolutely. All right. Well, I got to run, I'll say, because I have a track meet, so I got to go head down to the school. But thank you very much. It was a great conversation. And if you want to join one of my panels, which I keep saying I'm going to do, but I just haven't done it yet. But I usually bring back 4 to 6 of my past guests, and we pick a topic, and we all go round table style, just dishing out doses of inspiration. So if you're interested in that, I'll reach back out to you and when I'm going to have the next one.
Thank you. I'd be honored, and it was a pleasure speaking to you today. Thank you so much.
Awesome. All right. Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye. Take care.
I'm not ready with the outro. There it is.
You've been listening to Shut Up and Grind. We hope you've gotten some useful and practical information from this show. Robert has over 20 years experience pouring his knowledge and expertise at many events in the service and fitness industry, as well as secondary schools and universities. He has a true passion for helping others break through the barriers that are holding them back. To book Robert B. Foster to speak or to reach out, go to robertbfoster.com. Till next time, shut up and grind.